on the last episode of Convicted Cinephile.
Lord of Illusions. Clive Barker's Lord of Illusions.
You better bet we're gonna be rich. They say this thing's worth millions. Yes? Oh my god. They've armed the bomb.
It looks like it's gonna be a Merry Christmas after all. And now for the thrilling conclusion of the complete Scream Factory collection.
On to the M's. Mad Max. This was, I think, the second Scream Factory movie I bought. Unknowingly, I didn't know what they really were at the time. This is before prestige labels really became a thing I got. Starring Mel Gibson. This one's finally out of print now since they got re-released by Kino as well. They're sucking up a lot of these old Scream Factory titles and releasing them on 4K, which is, I'm not complaining. Another out of print one, Manhunter. I bought this the day it went out of print because I didn't have it yet and they announced it. So I've been burned before, specifically on the Sleepaway Camp sequels, which I've mentioned before. I watched this once a long time ago. I don't remember much of it, but I remember it being pretty good. I'm a huge fan of Red Dragon, which is essentially the same thing, because I love the Anthony Hopkins version, and I saw it in theaters when it came out a few times. I really liked it. So this one has a hard time getting into being one of my favorites because it's a story I've seen before, but it definitely has a kick-ass cast. Can't take that away from it. Classic from my childhood here. Misery. Directed by Rob Reiner. Do it the other way so you can see the little house. Ooh. This is another one that I think went out of print now because it got released by Kino as well. But yeah, this movie's amazing. There's only a few movies in the Scream Factory lineup that have won or even been nominated for Oscars, and this is one of them. Kathy Bates won Best Actress, and for a damn good reason. Motel Hell. I watched this years ago, like on Amazon Prime or something, and I didn't like it very much. And then I bought this while I was collecting these, and I don't know, something clicked, and I was like, yeah, this movie's hilarious. So I really like it a lot. And it stars that man who's always standing and walking. Smithers, you know his name. Rory Calhoun, that's right. Rory Calhoun. It's a Simpsons reference, by the way, if no one gets that. Anytime I watch anything with Rory Calhoun, I have to make that reference. Another one I've bought fairly recently and still haven't opened and I've never seen, amazingly. My Bloody Valentine. This cover is amazing. Okay, on to the ends. And more specifically, movies that start with the word night. Night of the Comet. This is one of the ones I've had longer too, and I didn't really get to pay too much attention to it because I'm pretty sure this came out, not it came out, but I bought it right after I had my kid. So I was, a little distracted, you could say, while I was watching it. But it was a fun movie, and I'll look forward to watching it again at some point. This one here, Night of the Creeps, is another one I used to rent. This artwork was the VHS I used to grab with my sister on at least a monthly basis when we were kids. We would rent this movie and watch it over and over and over and over and over. And it has held up, in my opinion, for the past 30-odd years. This is like a weird one because it doesn't have original artwork for the slip, but it still has reversible artwork, which is great. It's just a different poster. So I'm glad I got it with the slip because I love that artwork there. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor and just go buy this. It's amazing. And if you don't want to splurge on the Scream Factory one, I think there's a cheaper version you can get still that I used to own before I got this one. But you should really get this one. Night of the Demons. This is a fun one. I've only watched it once after having bought this, but I wouldn't call it a great movie, but it's definitely a fun movie. I've heard the sequels aren't so much. And my last N, probably one of the greatest films of all time. Ninja 3. The Domination. I always think it's The Dominion for some reason. The Domination. Scream Factory actually released a non-collector's edition version of this before, and this one's actually going for a lower price than that one, which I find hilarious. And there's the original poster there, which is also hanging on the wall over there, next to Kurt Russell. There we go. But yeah, if you like Flashdance, exorcism, ninja movies, this is your film right here. Before I forget, since I mentioned Kurt Russell over there in my very glary Big Trouble in Little China poster, I forgot to mention this. This is the huge Big Trouble in Little China Scream Factory set that comes with the LP vinyl. It came with the steelbook and the standard version, but I gave the steelbook to a buddy of mine because I really only needed the one copy. I think it's the one Brian De Palma movie in the series I haven't watched yet, Obsession, which is the other poster that was on the wall that I popped back there. Sounds very interesting. Not so much a horror movie, but more of like a mystery thriller. That's the only O, so I'll just keep going on to the P's here. People Under the Stairs by Wes Craven. This is a movie that I like more every time I watch it. It's still not even, in my top 3 Wes Craven movies, but it's definitely better than Deadly Blessing. So let's put it that way. Another one that was out of print. I bought this Phantasm 2, which is the first Phantasm. No, I've seen the first one. I watched the first Phantasm years ago, and then I watched this. But I might as well have not seen the first one because I barely remembered it. But since then, I'd watched all of them thanks to Joe Bob's Last Drive-In Marathon. And they definitely get worse as they go. Let's put it that way. But the first 2 are pretty solid movies, I would say. This one I remember I bought. I went on Scream Factory. No, I found it on eBay. Super cheap, and I bought it brand new. And the next day, it went out of print. And I had no idea. So I was really lucky about that one. This is another awesome old Brian De Palma movie, Phantom of the Paradise. This is just a movie that's so weird and unique that you have to appreciate it. I like it quite a bit. I like Brian De Palma's old 70s, early 80s style filmmaking where he does the long takes and the split diopter shots. On to the Poltergeist sequels. These are another ones I bought the moment they announced them going out of print. I went and bought both of these. Still haven't had a chance to watch them, as you can see. I'm hoping just to watch all 3 of them in a row one day because I love the first one. I've heard pretty good things about the second one, not so much about the third. One of my favorite John Carpenter movies, Prince of Darkness. This is one of the few Scream Factory titles I had before I officially started collecting them. It was like the Halloween set, Mad Max, and this. And then I went crazy after that. But if you haven't seen Prince of Darkness, it's awesome. I don't want to talk too much about it. It's basically scientists proving that the devil is real and he's coming back, and it's a very cool mix of religion and science that I find interesting in movies. But yeah, this is probably my 3rd favorite John Carpenter movie, after the 2 that you can imagine are my top 2. I won't even say, because you're probably just thinking those right now. All right. This is an interesting one here. I've only watched this once, and it was pretty good. There's Kane Hodder there on the cover in heavy makeup. And a young Viggo Mortensen. This is Prison. It's a pretty cool movie. It's another one I need to rewatch and, focus more on, or at least just... It's the case with a lot of these, like I said. I kind of watch them in the background. That's one good thing when you just have a kid and they're like so small they just nap through everything. All right, continue here. A lot of P's. Psycho 2 Collector's Edition. Psycho 2 is better than it has any right to be. I'll just say that. I don't like it as much as the original, nor would I say it's as good, but it's way better than anyone would probably expect it to be. It's a very good movie. Psycho 3, not as good, but I like it enough. It has a lot of interesting editing in this film, actually. I think this is the one that Anthony Perkins directed, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he did. Kid's not feeling good. You can hear him hacking in the other room there. And my last P. Let's get this over with. Pumpkinhead. I hate this poster. I thought it was like the stupidest looking poster. But this movie's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Stan Winston directed it. I think it's the only movie he directed ever. The creature in it's amazing. But other than that, the movie's alright. On to the R's. We got Rabid by David Cronenberg. This is the earliest film of his, at least that I own. If it's not his earliest film. It's a quasi-zombie / infection film that all takes place within an apartment building, I believe. Or I might be mixing it up with Shivers in my brain, actually. But this is definitely a zombie Rabid film, you can tell by the artwork. This is another one. I like this cover. It looks like no other Scream Factory cover there is. It's definitely a very unique cover. It's another one I bought when they were super cheap. Same with this one. Raising Kane, starring John Lithgow, another Brian De Palma movie. Wasn't the biggest fan of this film, but I love John Lithgow. He's very good in it. But it's definitely an interesting watch if you haven't seen it. Hear my kid playing with the snow globe in the other room. All-time classic here. One I didn't really watch until a few years ago for the first time. Return of the Living Dead. One I'm amazed I never saw as a kid, because I remember seeing this at the video store constantly, but we never rented it for some reason or another. But we rented Dawn of the Dead all the time. So I'll explain that. But yeah, this movie's hilarious, and it's one of the better zombie movies ever made. Sequel, can't say, haven't watched it yet, as you can see. But, I mean, even fans of the film, I don't think anyone I've ever seen says this one's better than the first one. But I'm sure it's a hoot and I'll have fun. And on to the not really horror movies section, apparently. Robocop 2. I'm a lifelong Robocop fan. It's a movie I grew up watching since I was like 5 years old, which is why I'm weird. Robocop 2 is actually very good. It's nowhere near as good as the first one, but it's a cool action movie. Robocop 3, on the other hand, is damn near a joke. It's PG-13, unlike the other two. So it's basically a big Robocop toy commercial for children and families of all ages. But it's kind of a so bad it's fun to watch sort of movie. And my last R, one of my recent pickups from my Shocktober sale video I just did, Road Games by Richard Franklin, starring Stacy Keach, Jamie Lee Curtis. I've heard really good things about this, so I'm excited to watch this finally. It's what sucks. You buy so many things, you only have the time to watch, one. All right, on to the S's. Is another one I haven't cracked into yet, but I have seen. It's a hilarious movie. I think it's honestly the only John Waters movie I own, which is strange. Should remedy that and get a few of his criterions. I love Crybaby too, so when that comes out, I might buy Crybaby. I think they're releasing it in 4K or something, or someone's re-releasing it very shortly. I love Crybaby. But yeah, Kathleen Turner is hilarious in this movie. Jessica Rabbit herself. Another one I just bought during the most recent sale, Wes Craven's Serpent and the Rainbow. It's one I have not seen yet ever. Surprisingly, another one starring Bill Pullman. He's in a couple of these movies up here. And speaking of Wes Craven, we got Shocker. It's basically Wes Craven, I don't know, intentionally or unintentionally ripping himself off, because it's basically Freddy Krueger if he traveled through TV signal instead of your dreams. But it's a fun movie. Silent Hill. I saw this in theaters, wasn't the biggest fan of it, but, I gotta buy it. It's in the set, right? It's got a sweet cover, though, so it's got that going for it. It is one of the cooler video game movies, but, I wouldn't say it's entertaining. And these two, Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2. I haven't watched either, sadly. I meant to watch them last Christmas. Never got around to it. This year, I'm going to watch these damn movies. This Christmas, it's Garbage Day, finally. Another one I just bought, Silver Bullet. Will it crack my top 5 werewolf movies of all time? We'll have to see. I remember watching part of this on TV, and I think when my son was a little baby, and we ended up napping through it together. So I don't remember much of it. And the other one I just bought, pretty much all the ones I bought are all in this row. It's kind of funny. Sleepwalker is another Stephen King one. Basically werecat people, and it's very strange and weird looking. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's strange. So, all right, and here, one of the all-time best. Sleepaway Camp. Like I said before, I don't have Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, and it pains me because they used to be $15 all the time, and so I kept putting it off and buying the other titles, and then all of a sudden they were out of print. Now they're like a bajillion dollars if you want them. Hopefully they just re-release them on 4K or something. If Scream Factory could release a trilogy pack of those, that'd be amazing. All right, Slither. James Gunn's Slither. Before anyone cared about him. Before he made Guardians of the Galaxy. This movie was hilarious. I saw this in theaters. I was so excited to see this movie because of all the awesome looking practical effects. It's got a great cast in it. I think I liked it even more after buying it and rewatching it. Michael Rooker's awesome in it. Elizabeth Banks is awesome in it. Nathan Fillion. Excuse me. Another one I haven't seen since I was a little kid, Species. This is a rare case where I haven't opened it, but the slipcover is actually on top of the wrapped Blu-ray. It's weird. But yeah, it's a cool cover. Can't remember if that one's out of print or not. This one I know is Squirm. This one has potentially my favorite poster out of every Scream Factory release. Look at that fucking thing. God, that's awesome. And it's the only movie, at least that I can think of off the top of my head, that was featured on a Mystery Science Theater episode with the bots up here. So, holds a special place in my heart for that reason. Here's a John Carpenter movie I haven't watched. I think it's the only one I haven't watched, actually. Is Starman. Not the only one I haven't watched, but that I haven't seen ever. Because I haven't watched my Escape from LA, but I've seen it a few times. There's another case of Oscar-nominated performance in a film. Jeff Bridges is nominated for Best Actor. On to the tease. Here we go. So we got Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood, starring the best actor of all time, Dennis Miller. Such a weird thing for him to be in. I don't know. Even at the time, I thought it was strange. Focus. Damn it. There we go. But yeah, you got the Crypt Keeper there. I remember seeing this, or parts of it when it came out. It was alright. This one, on the other hand, is great. Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. This is the one Scream Factory movie I've ever seen at a half-price books that I didn't already own. So I bought it. I remember it had, the slipcover's not in great shape, but it has it, so that's cool. And I remember the case was just smashed to shit, so I ended up trading it for a case I already, an extra case I had at home. But yeah, glad I found it. More Tales movies. Another one I just bought last sale, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Watched this for the first time last year, I think. Good movie. Needs a rewatch. Tales from the Hood. Awesome movie. I remember watching this when it came out on video. I remember being blown away by David Allen Greer being a bad guy in it. There he is right there. I was in Living Color fanatic as a child because I loved Damon Wayans and David Allen Greer and Jim Carrey especially. All right, where were we? Yes, had to take a break with the kid there. Teen Wolf 1 and 2. I'm amazed I got both of these with the slipcovers because I just bought Teen Wolf pretty recently. I actually had Teen Wolf 1 or Teen Wolf 2 first. So I saw Teen Wolf 2 before Teen Wolf 1, and it made enough sense. I just watched Teen Wolf 1 for the first time recently. Wasn't a big fan of it. Both of them aren't that good in my opinion, but first one's definitely better. Here's a good one. This is another one I bought after it had gone out of print. I was super lucky. Bought it new with the slip on eBay for like $25 or something, which isn't like a ridiculously good deal, but it's like normal price for what usually was going for like $50-$60 at the time. Think about this the day before my Phantasm 2 one, actually. Another one I bought the day it went out of print. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Seen it, but I haven't opened this one yet. This one also has a couple different versions of the movie, so whatever the alternate version of I haven't seen will be the one I watch first. Speaking of watching things first, haven't seen this one yet. I was never into Texas Chainsaw Massacre as a kid. For some reason, I had watched Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers movies and Chucky, but we never watched Texas Chainsaw, probably just because it was a little more overtly violent than the other ones and not like in a tongue-in-cheek sort of way. So I never ever saw the Texas Chainsaw movie until after the remake came out, actually. All right, we got the last few here. Another Carpenter classic, They Live. Saw this in theaters right before the world ended in late 2019. So I'm glad I got to do that. They were selling bubblegum flavored cocktails that were pretty terrible, but you had to get one. And handing out everyone free sunglasses, so that was kind of cool. And then, arguably, the best Carpenter movie, at least in my opinion, The Thing. Haven't got the 4K version of it yet. I probably will at some point. But this is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is one I grew up watching. The Thing. The kid's in the other room playing with his horror movie pop figures, by the way. So, Trick or Treat. This movie, another one I kind of didn't really like that much when it first came out. Then I watched it again finally this year, a few months ago, for the first time in over a decade. And I quite fell in love with it. I like it a lot now. I can see what all the hubbub is about, you could say. Let's just finish this off here, since we're almost done. Urban Legend, arguably the best Scream ripoff movie of the late 90s, early 2000s. This is a good addition. Starring Academy Award winner Jared Leto, among others. Another one from the same time period, Valentine. I was going to watch this in My Bloody Valentine around Valentine's Day, but of course I never got around to it. It's just, I want to watch them with the wife, but we're never home at the same time, and it's hard to watch them with the 4-year-old around, so you guys can relate, right? Some of you can, I'm sure. Well, I take that back. Here's a Carpenter movie I haven't watched ever. Vampires. So this is going to be near the top of my to-watch list. Never been big into vampire movies. Pretty much the only vampire movie I've ever watched repeatedly was Lost Boys, which I don't even own at the moment, sadly. But once the 4K of that comes out, I'll get it. Vice Squad, another one I haven't seen yet. That doesn't really qualify as a horror movie, so it was kind of weird to be in the Scream Factory Collector's Edition collection. But it's got Wings Hauser. Nobody cares about him, but it's just a funny Riff Tracks reference more than anything. And another Carpenter film, the one I kind of always forget about, honestly, not for bad reasons, just because it's one of the more forgettable films of his. Village of the Damned. The one movie starring Christopher Reeve that I own that isn't Superman. So I like having it for that, if no other reason. I'm trying to slip off the slip here. And then you got the creepy red-eye kids on there too. I remember this coming out in the 90s. Seeing commercials for it. All right, and my last few are just the only few steelbooks I have. Like I said, I don't usually collect them. I only got this one because it came with the poster. I'm actually, in the moment, they're for sale on Mercari. If you're interested in owning either of these brand new with the posters, I am selling the Galaxy of Terror and Forbidden World. I'll happily keep them, but if anyone out there wants them, search on Mercari. They might still be for sale. And the one that I bought first, because the standard edition had been out of print forever and it's impossible to find, is Life Force. This movie is awesome. Really need to watch it again. Glad I got this one though, because sorry, to try to open the damn case so you can see it. 4K transfer, so it's definitely a better quality release than the other one, but I'm kind of a stickler for everything looking the same, so that's kind of why I've stuck to the standard cases here. Alright, so that was my entire Scream Factory collection. Sorry I had to do it in 2 separate videos because of my phone's capacity. But at least I got it all out there, right? So I'll try to do some similar videos of my other, not quite so extensive boutique label collections. Please like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at convicted_cinephile. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.